Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Blu-Roy Movies. I hope we're all doing really, really well. It's a beautiful Sunday, sunny morning. So we're going to do the weekly watches. But first, I've got all my films in now. Yes, I've moved everything about and God, it's been hard work. I've got far too many films. Yeah, it's been quite the task, dragging shelves about, but we're all in place now. I think the next stage of the operation, I've got to source sort of a sofa type bed thing for when my son comes round to stay. Move my television and 4K player into here. Maybe spruce it up with a few posters and things like that. But the main thing that what I wanted to get out of the way first is getting all the films in, because that was the bit I weren't looking forward to. Yeah, it took some moving about, I can tell you. Midweek I'll do you a bit of a room tour video so you can see where I am and where I'm at. But anyway, it's Sunday. That's the stuff for another day. Let's get on with the weekly watches. And despite all the moving about and stuff, I managed to watch, I think it's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 10 films. I don't quite know how I managed that. But we did it. My dedication to the cause knows no bounds. So let's get on with it. Right, we started off the week with a real bang, and that's from 2010 Confessions, directed by Tatsuya Nakashima, starring Tasaka Matsuo and Masaki Akeda. And yeah, what a great film this was. Your typical Asian, I mean, this one's Japanese, but your typical Oriental Asian, twisty, turny, not so much a horror, more a thriller, more a drama. But this was really good. This is all about this young teacher played by Takako Matsu, and she's a teacher with a young toddler daughter, and the toddler daughter gets drowned while somebody's supposed to be looking after her while she's teaching, and she discovers that it was actually two of her pupils that actually murdered her. And it's just a great tale then of revenge. And like a lot of these films, it goes in directions you don't expect, and it keeps surprising you. There's one, like a spoiler, there's one scene where her husband was dying of HIV, stroke, AIDS, and she took some of the husband's blood and injected it into the kid's school milk. Well, or so she alleges. You'll have to watch it to find out if she did. But like I say, it keeps getting darker and darker and going in directions. I don't want to say too much because it's a film that you should watch for yourself and watch it unfold. But it had moments where it genuinely made me gasp at times at some of the things that went off. Yeah, really great film. I'm glad I watched a video a few weeks ago about disturbing films, and this was in it, and it was in my local CX, so I grabbed it and certainly don't regret it. Yeah, great film, that one. I can highly recommend it. Confessions. And next up on the road. Now, this film's from 2012, directed by Walter Sallis, and what an all-star cast this one's got. Garrett Hedlund, Sam Riley, Kristen Stewart. I don't really like Kristen Stewart, but she was really good in this. Kirsten Dunst, Amy Adams, Vito Morganson, Alice Braga, Elizabeth Moss. No, I don't like Elizabeth Moss, and I still don't after this one. And Steve Buscemi, who was only in a couple of scenes, and one of the scenes, if you've seen the film, I just can't unsee it. Yeah, this is about Garrett Hedlund's character and Sam Riley, they meet and befriend each other. Hedlund's this kind of con artist type guy, anything for an angle, anything not to work, so he's got easy money coming in. And yeah, he's a sort of bisexual womanizer, manizer. He doesn't care. Whatever comes along, he'll take. And like they say, he befriends Riley, and they go on sort of this journey from backwards and forwards across America, and Headlands meeting different women and getting them pregnant and leaving one each town. And yeah, it's quite a good story. It's just how these two characters find themselves in life, I guess. Lots of adult content, so if that's not your thing, maybe give it a swirl, a swerve. Like I say, there's one scene between Headland and Steve Buscemi, and once you've seen it, you won't be able to get it out of your head. But it's all right. A decent little throwaway film. It's not going to win any prizes. I was saying that it might have done. Yeah, it's beautifully shot. It's sort of set in the 1940s, so it's got that vibe to it. Yeah, good film. I quite enjoyed that. It's been sat on my shelves for ages, so it was quite high time I got round to it. That's On the Road. Next up, from 2015, a rewatch of Burnt, directed by John Wells, and another one with a really good cast. Bradley Cooper, Sienna Miller, Daniel Bruhl, who always plays a bit of a Weasley character for me, and this was no exception. He was quite a Weasley guy. Alicia Vikander, Uma Thurman, Emma Thompson, small role in this, but she was as good as ever. This is about Bradley Cooper's character. He's a 2-star Michelin chef, but he's kind of lost his way in life. He's taken to drink, he's taken to drugs, and been burnt out in life, I suppose. I suppose that's part of where the title comes from. But it's him coming to London after being in America and then training in France as a chef, and he's desperate to get back in the kitchen and desperate to earn a third Michelin star, which is like your World Cup of chefs. Once they've reached that third star, it's what every chef dreams of and works for in their career, and you then become a cooking superstar basically. And it's all about him starting this restaurant, working with Daniel Bruhl. He was the maitre d', and as I say, a Weasley character, but a good character, and trying to get his life back on track. And yeah, I quite enjoyed it. It's a horrible kid to work for at the start of it. Gordon Ramsay eat your heart out because Cooper was worse than him at some points of this. Yeah, really enjoyable film. It got its ups and downs. It starts a bit of a relationship with Sienna Miller. Uma Thurman's this critic. Emma Thompson in it. Yeah, she's good in it. I don't care much for this food they produce, though. Like little tiny bits with little tiny squiggles of jus, what they call it, and sauce and all fancy bits on it. Give me fish and chips any time, or a nice curry. I'd rather go to the curry house at one of these places and pay hundreds of pounds for a tiny little bit of food that they produce. But yeah, decent film. Enjoyed that one. Burnt. And next up, also from 2015, directed by Bill Condon, Mr. Holmes, Ian McKellen, Laura Linney, who she's quite unrecognisable as this, considering she's a normally blonde-haired and American, and she had dark-haired and a sort of like Cornish accent in this. Yeah, it took me a while to recognise her. Milo Parker, child actor who was very good. Frances de la Tour, who you probably know as Miss Jones from Rising Damp. And yeah, this one didn't do so much for me. I found it pretty boring. Saying that, it's really well acted. If you're going to pick somebody to play an aging Sherlock Holmes. You couldn't go far worse than Ian McKellen because he's a stellar actor, and he did a good job. It's just I found the film very, very dull. It's all about Sherlock. He's retired to the coast and he's struggling. He's got dementia. He's struggling to remember things. In particular, his very last case that he had, which he knew that during the last case something happened that affected his life, and it's him trying to remember it and piece things together about what happened. Yeah, quite sad, really, how it has been affected in his later life, and he's writing people's names on his shirt cuffs so he remembers their names when he goes to see them. Yeah, it was nice to look at. Well acted, like I say. Will I watch it again? No, probably not. I can't see myself going back to this one. Maybe want to move on from the collection, I think. Yeah, Mr. Holmes. Let me know if there's any fans of this. I hope you got more of it than I did. Next up, and we was joined by a special guest, but he's gone. Never once sit still for very long. And next up was The Insider. He's now hanging out the window looking like he's going to jump out. Don't do it. Yes, The Insider from 1999, directed by Michael Mann, and another brilliant cast. Al Pacino, Russell Crowe, Christopher Plummer, Philip Baker Hall, Gina Gershon, Michael Gambon, and stellar film that was. And yet Cosmo's jumped out the second floor window, which he does quite often, don't be alarmed. Yes, The Insider, yeah, great film. 7 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, and if it had won a couple of them, no way I'd have argued. This is about Russell Crowe's character. Now, he is an ex-employee, a sort of scientist for a big tobacco company, and despite all the CEOs of 7 biggest tobacco companies in America denying that they have any knowledge that nicotine is addictive and in cigarettes to make you want to buy more and smoke more, he blows the whistle basically that the CEOs do know full well that that's the case, but also that they're adding chemicals to the cigarettes, ammonia, so that the nicotine hits your bloodstream quicker than it would anyway, so that you get more of a hit and more of an addiction. And yeah, it's his battle to get that knowledge out there, and the battle of the cigarette companies, which are big, powerful companies, to try and shut him up by gagging orders, confidential agreements, threatening his family, death threats to him himself, the people following him about all the time. Yeah, quite. And this is based on a true story, and quite disturbing that the lengths that big organisations will go to keep themselves looking whiter and white, though our cigarette company could do that. Yeah, really, really good, really interesting. If you like your whistleblower type films and you haven't seen this like me, I was going to say, I can't believe I hadn't seen this before. And that's just through moving my stuff about in a week. I've come across this and what's this, and started thinking that looks interesting, so I thought I'd give it a watch. Yeah, really, really great one. Grab a copy, give it a watch, because it's certainly food for thought. Right, next up, and another one you might think unbelievably that I've not seen, but this was a first time watch. I've been on a Sidney Pollock watching spree recently, so I thought I'd give Tootsie a watch, from 1982. As I say, directed by Sidney. Another great cast. Dustin Hoffman, or should he be Dustin Hoffwoman in this? Jessica Lange, Terry Garr, Charles Durning, Bill Murray, Gina Davis, George Gaines, who's Lassard from the Police Academy series, and he played a similar character, like a bumbling type person in this. Yeah, can't believe I've never seen this. I've heard it likened to Mrs. Doubtfire, and I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of Mrs. Doubtfire. It's not one of my favourite films. Another one nominated for 10 Academy Awards. Yeah, great film. Hoffman is this struggling actor, and he can't get a part for love no money. So when his friend, played by Terry Garr, she goes for a job, an acting job, in a daytime soap that's quite big, she gets turned down for it. He decides to dress as a woman and go and see if he can get taken on for this soap himself, and he certainly does. And he actually looks quite convincing as a woman. He could pass for a woman. Actually, it's quite good. I've seen people walking around on the street these days that are going through medical procedures that look far less convincing than Dustin did on this, and it's a genuinely funny film. There's quite a few moments that I did laugh out loud, which is rare for me in films. Like, normally I just smile if I find something amusing, but there was a few, particularly one scene where his friend, his female friend, played by Terry Garr, at this point they're platonic friends, and she's in the shower and he sees her frock on the floor, so he decides to try it on to see what he looked like in it. So it's down to his underpants, but then just as she walks out to the shower, then he has to pretend that he's trying to seduce her, and that's how he ends up as a boyfriend. It's predictable. You can see which way it's gonna go. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. You can tell what direction it's going to take. You can tell that it's going to fall for Jessica Lange. Really good though. Really enjoyed it. Top marks. Probably the film of the week. And next up, yeah, I enjoyed Dustin Hoffman so much in Tootsie that I decided to re-watch Kramer versus Kramer, a film I hadn't seen for years and only seen the once, I believe, from 1979, directed by Robert Benton, who we sadly lost recently, starring Dustin, Meryl Streep, brilliant child performance, child Henry as little child Billy Kramer, not to be confused with Billy J. Kramer, the 1960s singer who sang Little Children. Yep, what a great film. This is an acting tour de force from Hoffman in particular and Streep. His marriage to Streep comes to an end, and I felt a bit sorry for him. I didn't think Streep, she was the nicest character at all in this film. Is very much a career man, and he's probably let that get in the way of his wife and raising his young child, but you can tell that he still loves them and is devastated when she leaves, and he then has to raise young Billy Kramer, not Billy J. Kramer, himself, and adapt to becoming a father and trying to juggle that with his work life. And at first it's a mess. He's really struggling, but as time goes on, he becomes a better dad, and just this bond that grows between himself and young Billy is really nice to see. And Meryl keeps away Mrs. Kramer until all of a sudden she comes back on the scene demanding that she has custody and taking him to a court, and then it becomes a court battle and gets quite an ugly court battle. And I won't say which way the battle goes in case you haven't seen it and you want to watch it, but give it a watch because it's wonderfully acted. A great film, and winner of 5 Oscars, including Best Picture, and in my opinion, highly deserved so. And hats off to Mr. Kramer. His French toast making skills improved considerably during this film. Yeah, really great stuff, that Kramer v. Kramer. Give it a watch if you've not seen it. And next up, a remake of film that I don't have to tell you much about this. Terminator II, 1991, James Cameron, Arnie himself, Linda Hamilton, Edward Furlong, who, I tell you what, I've watched this numerous times and always annoyed me, but this time, as a character, he didn't really bother me. I don't know why that is. I don't know why I have this sudden character switch on him, but yeah, I always found him the most annoying part of this film, but I didn't mind him this time. Robert Patrick as the T-1000, the Terminator, the new improved Terminator, the one step higher than Arnie Terminator that's come and destroy young John Connor. Yeah, this is, you all know what a brilliant film this is. Not quite as good as the first one for me, but very close. Two stellar films and a brilliant addition to the Terminator universe. Yeah, I love it. It's the perfect action film for me. Not a beat wrong with it. Minor flaw, maybe the bit where after they break out, are out of prison, Sarah Connor out of prison, and they go to the desert and meet up with the old friends. I think that might drag a little bit for me, but that's a very minor quibble. I keep toying with getting a 4K, but I've heard it's quite terrible, and actually that the Blu-ray looks better. So if you've got any knowledge on that, let me know down below. Yeah, I can't say anything more than you don't already know. Terminator 2 in most people's top lists, and rightly so. Wonderful science fiction action film. And next up, my Dustin Hoffman watching carried on a bounds with 1971's Sam Peckinpah directed Straw Dogs, again starring Hoffman, a lovely Susan George, Peter Vaughan. Peter Vaughan's marvellous in this. Colin Welland, who Sammy will know, one of the teachers from Kes, so it's nice to see him pop up in this. Yeah, this is a great film. One I desperately need to get a Blu-ray for at some stage, but heavily out of print. One we could do with a lovely 4K edition. Maybe Arrow would do this justice, but as DVD copies go, this ain't bad. It's got a lovely slip on it and some great artwork there, yeah. And it's not the best transfer, but you know what? You stick them in and your eyes become accustomed to them, and it's quite watchable. But what a great, hard to watch, brutal, hard-hitting film this is. Hoffman moves into the Cornish countryside, not far from the coast, with his wife, who is Susan George, and she's from the area, and Hoffman is not so much a yuppie, but quite well-thinking teacher who is worlds apart from these farmers and builders and the likes of that live in the area, and they take umbrage, I think, that he's moved into the area with a local girl that they all fancy, and one or two of them have got a previous romantic history from, and they basically end up terrorising. It turns into a home invasion film. Like I say, it's horrible, but it's so magnetic you can't take your eyes off it when everything's kicking off. It always reminds me, I watch these American films where they travel to these back-end towns and everybody seems to be out to kill you. And I always think I wouldn't want to go to America and wind up in these small towns. And I'm wondering, if Americans watch Straw Dogs and think about English towns in the same way, because I've been to Cornwall and Devon, and the people aren't like this at all. But, yeah. the people in this town are absolutely horrible. Apart from the Colin Whellan's character, the vicar, he's a nice guy, and there's a major who goes down a pub and tries to keep all the unruly elements in line, but very often he doesn't succeed. Yeah, I don't want to tell you too much about this. It is a film that's best off going in quite blind and not knowing much about, and another film you wouldn't regret once you stuck it on. Oh, please bring us out a decent 4K edition of this. Sam Peckinpah's Straw Dogs. Brilliant, brilliant film. And to round the week off, I had In Fabric from 2018, directed by Peter Strickland, starring Marianne Jean-Baptiste, Gwendolyn Christie, who was Brennan Tarth from Game of Thrones, a good character, Julian Barrett, Hayley Squires, who played Babs. I liked her. I thought she was good. Steve Oram, quite a few British faces that you'd recognise. And this is my second time I've watched a Peter Strickland film, the other being Barbarian Sound Studio, which I didn't get on with, which was far too weird for my taste. And yeah, this one was the same, I'm afraid. I think Strickland is a director that I'm not going to see eye to eye on. His style just too bizarre for me. It's all about this killer dress that's had a habit of cursing everybody it comes into contact with, from the model that first wore it for a catalogue to Jean-Baptiste's character who buys it because she wants to get back into the dating game, to a young guy who ends up wearing it on his stag night. They all seem to come out in this rash and end up mysteriously dying, and it's very, very weird, very, very strange. The shop that this dress was bought from seems to be run by these mannequin type women and this very strange guy. It's very surreal, it's very out there. It went over my head and landed by them shelves over there somewhere, to be frank. Yeah, I didn't get it. I did look on YouTube trying to get some explanation for it, but didn't find much joy. So whether maybe not anybody did get it. If you did get it and you can shed some light on it and you have seen it, by all means, educate your stupid narrator, because no, it weren't for me. Yeah, that was it. 10 titles, guys. I think I've waffled on again for the second week running. I think it's another long one. And for the second week running, that's what she said. Yeah, let me know what you think down below. Any of these watches, if you've seen them, do you like them? Do you dislike them? Do you agree with me? Do you think I'm talking out me bum? Probably. Give us a like if you've liked what I've done here today. Maybe think about subscribing if you want to hear more of this twaddle. I'll catch you all later. Have a nice rest of your weekend. All be good. Keep watching movies, but most importantly, keep talking about movies. I'll see you all later. Ta-ra.